Welcome to another episode here on the Wellness Path Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Vic, and I'm excited to have you on as we've been breaking down things about if you're a parent, if you are thinking about having kids, I highly recommend the last 5 episodes that we've done. It's all about brain development and where do we see issues that help create. If we don't get it at the foundation level, then how does this build and show up in other areas? And a lot of times when I work with parents, it's always the thing that what the child's going through at the moment they think is the issue. Oh, this is just what they're going through right now. But really, it's a whole developmental thing that we have to work through. And so there's a 5-part series. You can check that all out there. And I also share, you can find in the notes, my workshop that I've done. It's a 4-part video series on the domino effect, which goes way more in depth and brings in more neurology and chiropractic to understand why we're seeing such a huge rise in chronic illness in children and what can we do to shift that course and so much more. But in today's episode, I want to start shifting gears a little bit and bring some more longevity stuff, holistic stuff, other things that I've been studying for years and love and constantly learning and growing and trying to expand and be better at what I do to help my patients in every level, not just through a chiropractic viewpoint, but also holistically, mental, emotionally, chemically, energetically. How can I approach and help them in every facet to give them a well-rounded process? And in today's episode, I'm going to dive deep into a supplement that I'm going to be very honest, I was not a fan of in high school when kids were taking it. I was actually very against it. I'm a purist at heart. So for those who know what that means is that I'm very to nature has given us everything we need. And it's just utilizing nature in the best way that we can without disrupting its natural processes and nature's laws and universal laws and so much more, and the laws of the body. And if we stick to that, then usually everything works out the way it should. And so I've always been a natural guy when it comes to things. When I was in high school, steroids was the thing. Creatine taking was another thing, and anything else to stimulate muscle growth, becoming very lean was a lot of things that people around me were doing. But I was one of those guys that did not do any of that. I barely took protein shakes. I was very big into just eating a lot of protein. I don't know how my parents afforded all the food I would eat. I could eat my mom, I'm Italian, so my mom would make meatballs, and my cousin Ralphie, who would come by, he's a little older than me, and he'd be like, "All right, Vic, what do you, little Vic, how many are you eating today?" I'm eating 13 meatballs. He's like, "Gee," I don't know how you pound that down. I was very big into eating protein. So, but anyhow, the point of the story is that I want to share some things with you that can help you. And so we're going to be talking about creatine. Okay. The aspects of creatine and how it's really not just for muscle. It's really more for longevity, brain health, and so much more. And I'm a big component of brain health in every way possible. That's why I think I became a chiropractor. It is the one thing that helps your brain more than anything else out there. And I'll say that one more time. Chiropractic helps your brain more than anything else out there. I will tell you that it's not my opinion. There was a medical doctor who stated this too. He did research and noticed that, hey, 90% of what keeps your brain young, healthy, and functioning and giving it nutrition is not based on what we eat and do, but actually how well the spine moves. He's like, maybe these chiropractors are onto something. And so that is the most critical thing you do for your brain. But I'm all about neurodevelopment, brain development, and so forth. So anything I'll be sharing with you guys will always have a neural development or a brain component to help in that process. But let's dive into, creatine. And one of the things is a lot of people, when I was in high school, I remember I used to hear about how creatine stresses your kidneys. It doesn't do well because what creatine does is what I saw was it creates water retention in the muscles. So it makes the muscles look bigger. And you could tell who was on creatine and who wasn't back then. The thing about that, though, is it got a lot of negative backlash on that because it would affect kidney health because you're having so much water retention, it stresses the kidneys more. Well, they've developed a different way of creating creatine to where it doesn't affect the kidneys and it doesn't create water retention. And so for the last little over a year and a half, 2 years, I've actually been taking creatine. I don't take it every single day, but I take it probably about 5 days a week, and I mix it in my coffee. In that way, or my tea I have in the morning, or whatever the beverage that I'm having that's warm in the morning. And that is something that I have been consuming for that long, and you're going to find out why. And I don't take it for muscle mass and strength and things like that. I don't take it for any of that reason. So that's like one of the benefits of creatine. I'm going to go through a few of them. Okay. So I'm going to give you at least 15 to understand, to try to inspire you. It's not about just, you can Google this, what's the top 15, 20, 30 things that do that, creatine. I want to make sure this podcast is more than just that, because I'm going to share how it implements into your life and what does it mean long term and why you may want to do this. And then you can always reach out to me if you're interested in taking a very high quality product. I have access to be able to share that with you, but you have to email me first, so then I can get you set up and I can send that stuff over to you. But here's some of the things. So like there's two, well, from a physical side, there's two reasons why I love creatine. And obviously I don't take it for muscle mass and strength, but it's one of those. Exercise performance, particularly in high intensity activities. My workouts are extremely high intensity. I work out about 3-4 times a week. And it's one of those things that I need something to make sure I can continue to go at that level, especially as I get older. And so that's one of the benefits I love. But here's the reasons. Here's all the other stuff, right? So I have a list here to my left. I'm gonna be reading off a little bit. But it improves brain function and cognitive abilities. It helps manage blood sugar levels, which is huge, right? So body imaging, body metabolism, and so forth will help plenty with that. Supports heart health by potentially lowering cholesterol and triglycerides. It aids in recovery from exercises and reduces muscle damage. Huge, right? So if you can reduce the muscle damage, then you can start to grow and expand, become stronger, be more fit, and things along that nature. It mitigates age-related muscle loss known as sarcopenia in older adults. Now, let me explain why that's so critically important. There's new studies that have been coming out for a while now, the last few years, that they were looking, so much on longevity now, and they were looking, okay, what is the first sign that we know an individual is losing longevity? And they found out that it's actually sarcopenia, which means muscle loss, right? So creatine can help you regain your muscles and actually extend your longevity. I can't tell you how critical and huge that is and how much that benefits your life overall, because we're realizing now that muscle mass is a determining factor to longevity, healthy, quality muscle mass. I must be very clear about that. And so lean muscle mass is what I'm talking about. It can help with neurological disorders, variety of them, including Parkinson's. It can reduce the symptoms of depression. Right. One of the things that I was always found that was very interesting about creatine, it exhibits, or it acts like it, and it has antioxidant properties, and that helps with longevity. It helps with reducing free radicals out of the body so that your body can stay younger, because free radicals or oxidative stress and things along that nature is actually what ages us. And this can slow down that process, and we can age more gracefully and still be able to live life and enjoy it. It enhances bone health. It may also prevent osteoporosis. I would say, though, that you still have to do some exercising to that. But, glucose intolerance and type 2 diabetes. So it will help with individuals. Remember, it helps metabolism. That's everything that comes with sugar levels, how the body utilizes sugar, how to process it. So it really works really well. There are some anti-cancer properties potentially. There is more research that's needed, but for now, they're saying there is. Skin health. It may also, with premature aging of the skin, so you stay looking younger. Huge here, right? And then also, they've said there is potential for benefit for during pregnancy for fetal development, for what it's doing, especially on brain, nerve tissue, and so forth. So these are just some. There's over 30 well documented research that shows the benefits of what it could do, and they keep doing it. And then they looked at safety and effectiveness, and it's through the roof safe. And so they're like, this is something. Now, you can, for those who may be like, I don't want to take a supplement, this is where you get creatine from meat. And so you can just, you can eat a lot of meat. I do eat a very carnivore-like-ish diet. I wouldn't say it's carnivore. It's just I'm not really a diet person, but if I'm trying to explain how I normally eat, it's carnivore light. I do eat fruit. I have some vegetables. I love meat. But I do sourdough breads and sourdough grains. I eat nuts and seeds, but they're all soaked for 8 hours. And then, so there's things that I do that may not be fully carnivore, but it's carnivore-like. So it's about 80-85% of my diet is. But it's the benefit of doing this is going to help you in the long run. And I'm not even sharing with you the main reason why I do this. Because when I started reading this research, it was about 3-4 years ago, I started looking into creatine. It was a new thing that was like, not a new thing, but people were like, this may be something for longevity, maybe something for this. And I'm like, I don't like taking creatine. I go back to high school days. I remember all that, and I'm like, I'm a purist. I don't know about this. But then I did research, and I kept doing research. I kept doing research for a couple of years, on and off. And I got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I'm not doing it. Like, I don't know why I'm not taking it. Like, I don't eat enough meat in a day. And I was like, I want to make sure I'm giving my body everything it needs so it can thrive. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this for a little bit. Let me see how it goes. And I've been loving it. I mean, I've loved one of the things creatine can do, and if you have kids and you don't get a good night's rest, which does happen, right? I know I've gone through that many, many nights, is you can take creatine, and what it will do is it will minimize on the mind the lack of sleep. So you still have good cognitive function, even though you are tired. That's one of the things I love about taking creatine, especially when I don't get a good night's rest. I'll take that stuff, and all of a sudden I can get through my day, keeping my mental acuity where it needs to be, regardless if I got 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours on and off. It wouldn't matter, because I could take that and it helps minimize that. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed to do that. Okay, I want to be very clear about that, but it will help me to where I can get up and go, and my mind will start to get ready, and I'm like, all right, I'm feeling it. Let's go. And it's one of those things. That's what I will do and utilize for that. Now, I want to get into really quick some of the brain benefits. I'm sharing one already with you when it comes to why I take creatine and why I recommend it for you. I already shared enough. So body image, body composition, brain health, physical muscle mass, longevity, purposes, and so forth. But I'm always about how can I optimize my brain? And so what it will do is it helps with short-term memory and working memory performance, how you learn, how you do things throughout your day, memory sequences, and so forth. It helps enhance that. Remember I was saying, when you're tired, you take this and it'll help that mental aspect. That's one of them. But there's a lot of them. Intelligence, right? It enhances your intelligence, your IQ, and also reasoning abilities. Okay. It boosts attention and reduces attention time. So it allows you to focus better. It allows you to center yourself to do things done a little more. It increases information processing speed. That's important, right? How fast can you process information? So it's enhancing your brain's capacity to work at a higher level. But this is the one I love. Supports cognitive function during sleep deprivation. That's what I just shared with you guys. It works. I'm not telling you it does. I've been through this. It helps with brain fog and poor concentration, right? We have a lot of brain fog now. It's a new term everybody's talking about. And it's like, I wouldn't say new term, it's been around for a while, but I'm hearing it more now mainstream about, oh, you have brain fog, you have this, it means X, Y, Z. It helps with mental fatigue. It increases cellular energy reserves in the brain. I can't tell you how important that is for the brain. It helps store the cellular energy for function and allow that to be, that's vital for your brain overall, for capacity, for longevity. When there's higher demands needed, it has the reserves to replenish so your brain doesn't lose out on that and get overexhausted. It has neuroprotective properties. It also helps prevent loss of dopaminergic neurons. Can't tell you how important that is. But, when it comes to neuroprotective properties, this is going to protect against like Alzheimer's, dementia, any neurodegenerative, but also just what the brain goes through. The more you do things that are more neuroprotective and feed the brain, the younger it is, the more vital it is. And to me, based on what I know, it also helps with you in longevity and in your life, because there's people I talk to now, since I've been back in practice, I hear concerns. People talk, I'm worried about maybe getting Alzheimer's. I say I have it in my family. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. But there's a lot of things you can do that can help you in that process. And creatine is one of those. It definitely can help with people with cognitive performance, especially in aging individuals. Again, when you think about neuroprotective, you think about cellular reserves in the brain. When you think about the things that help with information processing speeds, increase intelligence to some degrees, help you with reasoning, this help with poor concentration, help improve your focus. This is all this is all for the good for your brain overall. It's a holistic look because it's affecting every facet, right? It also helps benefit with especially neurological disorders. So these are things that you can do to help enhance the brain to take it to a whole nother level. And this is what it will do to do just that. And creatine is phenomenal for that. So it's really not that expensive to take something that gives you all these benefits. I mean, body composition alone, some people like that. I do have some patients that I have on it for that purpose. But for the main reason, and for the main reason I'm taking it is what I just shared with you now with all the brain health. I'm trying to make sure my mind is always at its max capacity and speed and always being as good as it possibly can. And I want to keep my mind as young as I possibly can. So I'm like 150. I'm sitting there having a sharper mind than I did in my 20s and 30s. And I'm being dead serious about that. And I believe it can happen too. I mean, what I'm seeing in longevity is amazing. We're going to be doing more talks about this on the podcast and people I've interviewed when it comes to health and so forth, and how to really bring to you guys stuff that I know and what I'm seeing and so forth, because we're going to be coming out next year. Right now I'm doing a poll, and I can use your help with this. We're doing a poll right now to see what are some things that people are interested in. I have 4 programs I'm looking at. I'm only going to release one, but I have 4 that I'm looking at doing that I'm sharing for advice of what you guys are looking for. One of them is brain optimization. The other one is longevity. And there's a couple other ones. And I want to see what people are interested in so that I can present to you, either if I have mass demand for all of them, then I may do online classes for a lot of them, and then just pick one that I want to do for group coaching. But I want to put a program together to help people really start to one, has scientific based information. That way, that this is the leading science that we have right now. That will help there. Also, it aligns with natural laws of the body, and so forth. And that's critically important because the body does things in a specific way. We don't want to interfere with that process. We want to help support it. That's why any nutrition I usually recommend is for supporting the body, not forcing. And we're always looking at how do we support the body to give what it needs and thrive. And creatine's a big one. I think this is why back thousands of years ago, where humans' brains, there was a period of time where our brains just really grew really fast. And that's why when we have children, they actually come out not being able to walk and stuff like every other mammal for the most part. And one of those reasons was the heads were getting too big. The brains grew too fast. And so they started to have it in this process to where they come out, be able to get through the birth canal, and go from there. Maybe down the road, maybe things will evolve and change, but that's kind of where we've evolved to. But one of the reasons why they looked at the studies and they looked at what we were eating, and we went heavily more into animals for consuming food. And there's a lot of good fats, and there's a lot of good creatine and all these other things. And they started to notice that, wow, the brains really grew. And so it kind of aligns with what I'm sharing here when it comes to taking creatine, utilizing it, how it affects your brain health, overall health, even in pregnancy, and so much more. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So it's real simple to do. You put it, if you have coffee or if you have hot tea in the morning, take it then. You can put it in a smoothie. There's so many ways you could take it. But my thing to you is this. Remember, you can Google a lot of this information. Here's what I want to share with you. How important is it for you that you hear this information in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road, you follow it? And you're like, man, what he said was true. Look where I'm at. Look at my mental capacity. It's better. It's stronger. And then there's the other side. Great information. Cool. Don't do nothing about it. You get tired of the brain fog. You're getting tired of, just feeling sluggish. You don't really feel like you have that mental clarity. And it just continues to get worse and worse over time. You start getting depressed about it and so forth. And you could have did something different. I'm not saying creatine is a fix for everything. It's not. It's a holistic approach. It's just one of the pieces of the puzzle that I use in my life for my family and what I recommend the family members. And then there's other things I add to that. Chiropractic is my core. That is the main thing I do because I understand health in a way to where, chiropractic is the most misunderstood profession, especially from the public's view. And it's one of those things that this is the core that helps the body thrive. It harmonizes the body because the body's always looking to thrive. It's always looking to grow and evolve and expand. It needs the right conditions and be in the right environment. And chiropractic brings it as close as possible to that. And then sometimes you need other things to come in the mix, which most of the time we do nowadays. And so we add that into the mix and we see a huge change. When people do the work, I've been in practice 15 years when I say almost 15, and I've been a chiropractor 15 years. And when I see things, it's amazing that when they do the work, it's like, holy cow, the body just blossoms. It goes through what it has to go through and it starts to blossom. It's just fascinating to see how that all works. And so taking this and doing this consistently over a period of time, and I would say at least 6 months, you will start to see a difference. And you'll start to see something from your mental capacity and so much more. So I highly recommend it. If you're interested in what I take, the products I take are extreme. They're health professional, pharmaceutical grade stuff. They're very, very high quality. Most of the time, it's only through a physician of some sort that you can get these from. But I have access to a way for podcast listeners to get access to it. All you have to do is email me. Okay. My email is in the show notes. Go ahead and just email me and say, hey, podcast, and then say creatine. And that way I'll know, and I'll respond back and I'll say, hey, I need this information. And I can recommend a product, the one that I take. That I'm always looking for, just to be very transparent, I'm always looking for what is the lowest cost with the greatest benefit. So I never sacrifice on quality. All I look for is what's the lowest investment to that for the highest quality. And so that's kind of what I do for patients. I can't tell you how many times when patients are taking all these supplements, I tell them, let me see it. And I look and I break it down for them and I go, yeah, I'm going to save you about, let's say they're taking 10 different supplements. I'm going to save you at least $100 a month, at least. And we get them on different, better quality products. And then they take them for a while and they're like, okay, that's what it means to take these products. And now I see the difference. Because when it comes to supplements, it really comes down to the quality and how they're processed and how much are they pulling away from the natural aspects of life or the laws of the body, laws of nature and so forth. So if we process things to a certain point, it loses its vitality in that realm, because I won't bore you with all the details, but the body in life, everything is energy. And so there's frequency codes to everything. And so like when you eat something, you're not really taking the nutrition of that. You're taking the energetic imprint of that. And the body uses that to do what it needs to do. I know this is a way different conversation. I will do a podcast on this to really break that down. What does that look like? Back it up with science so that we can know that, like, yeah, scientifically we prove this stuff and so much more. But to get back to the show here on this episode on the topic, creatine can help you drastically for brain health, muscular health, metabolic health, and so much more. If you're interested, email me. My email is in the show notes. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share this with a friend. Really helps to get that out there. Wherever you're listening, share a review. If you're enjoying the podcast so far, we're really looking to take this to the next level. And I appreciate you for tuning in. As always, until next time, I am Dr. Vic. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.